Hi, this is Al Padley, and in this video we're going to take a look at how to set your calendar blocks in Arbiter. So let's go ahead and get started right away on this. Once you're logged into Arbiter, you're going to want to go to the main menu bar and click on Blocks. Now this particular video is going to be longer than most, and the reason for that is this is the one area that gets referees into trouble more than any other. It is critical, it is vital that referees keep this calendar up to date on a daily basis throughout the season. Failure to keep your blocks in place, failure to update this on a daily basis creates massive headaches for the assigner. Referees get assignments when they're not available because they didn't take care of this calendar. That means referees have to decline or turn back the assignment. And the consequence of that is referees who turn back more than a couple of assignments are going to find that they are no longer going to get assignments. That's how important this is, and I really want to emphasize that before we go any further. Keep this calendar up to date. Now, what sort of things should you be having in mind even before the season starts? There are lots of dates that you as a referee know about before the season begins. For instance, everybody knows when homecoming is. Everybody knows when their prom date is. Everybody knows when the ACT or the SAT or the PSAT tests are. And if you don't know this, it's very easy to find out. And it's your responsibility to find out. And if you're going to be impacted by one of those things, make sure you block the date. When it comes to things like homecoming or your prom, I always advise referees, assume you are going to those events and block your calendar. You can always unblock it later if it turns out you're not going. But doing it the other way around and assuming you're not going and then at the last minute find out that you are going creates havoc not only for the assigner, but also for the teams that are involved in the games that now you're no longer available to go to. And sometimes that means that there's no referee available for those games because you didn't block your calendar. And that's not fair to everybody involved. It's not right. And it will get you removed from the assigning list pretty quickly if you do those sorts of things. What other things are known well ahead of time? There are things like if you're involved in a high school sport or another activity, your dates for district playoffs, your dates for state playoffs are known. If you are playing on a team, almost every team knows which tournaments they're going to that are out of town. All you have to do is ask, find out, get that information, and get it entered into your calendar as soon as possible. Now, for many of us, our activities and our obligations change on a daily basis. And when that happens, you've got to come in here and make the changes on your Arbiter calendar at the same time. If you wait, you forget, and that creates problems. That's why one of the things that I remind referees is take care of this every single day during the season. During the off season, no big deal. There's nothing to do and you can forget about it. But during the season, it should be, or it should have your attention on a daily basis. Okay, so now I'll get off my soapbox and we'll get back to how do you actually do this. Once you reach the block screen, the calendar screen, I want to focus right now on this left-hand column before we ever set any blocks because it contains particularly important information and dictates how everything else works. At the top, you will see listed the groups you are a member of in Arbiter. Most people are going to be a member of the ISRC Idaho group, for instance. That's the statewide group of referees, as well as one or more local referee groups. There is a Swissra group, there's PAL, there's Middleton, various organizations use Arbiter, and those groups are going to be listed here for you. It could be high school, it could be college, it could be another sport, it could be a lot of different things. And so you have to know which group you're trying to block, and you do that by these check marks. Now you can check everything, and that will automatically enter a block through all those groups. Very handy. You only have to do it one time from one screen. On the other hand, it may be that you only need to block one group for some reason. It may be, for instance, that you want to work the Rush Select Spring or Fall Classic, their season-ending tournament. And many of those Saturdays during the season, you were actually working for PAL. So what you would do is you'd come in here and you would check the PAL group, and you would block out the date of those Rush Select tournaments. So you wouldn't get PAL assignments on those days, but you would still be open to get assignments for Rush Select games. So that sort of thing. So pay particular attention to the groups and which ones you have checked when you're working on this calendar. Find it, referees often make the mistake. Tell me, oh, I blocked my calendar. And they didn't, because they didn't have the right group checked. Okay, so very important. The next section is the action section. These are the radio buttons that you have to check first before you do anything else on the calendar page. You can think you're doing something here, but if you have the view schedule action, the very first button, the default button checked, nothing's going to happen. You're not going to set any blocks or remove any blocks or anything else. So know which button, and we'll go over those in a moment. You can print your calendar under the report section. We're not going to deal with that in this video. Then the legend. The color coding in the legend, you will see as you're looking at your calendar, and it will tell you for any particular day on the calendar what you may have. The dark blue, if the calendar date is colored dark blue, that means you have an assignment on that date. And if we go back here to June, for instance, you can see 2 dates are in dark blue. That's because there were assignments on those dates. Okay, and if you are playing on a team and have already attached yourself to your team's schedule, something that's covered in another video, you will see light green on dates where you have attached yourself to a team, and that's created an automatic block on your schedule. Now, keep in mind that these colors, they can't show all of them, so it defaults to the colors in the order shown. Full day blocks are in red, and part day blocks are in that pink or light red color. If there's nothing, it's like most of my calendar that's showing on the screen right now, it's going to be white for the current month and gray for the previous and next month. Now, there's a key one in here, this light blue pending game. What does that mean? As assigners are doing their work, they start assigning games and then moving all the puzzle pieces around to make sure everything is, all the assignments are covered for any particular day. But before everything is finalized and referees are notified about their assignments, it's considered pending. It's not final yet. And if you come in to your block screen and you see a date that has that light blue color, that means the assigner has has tentatively given you a game, but just hasn't told you about it yet. And if you see that and know that you now need to block that date, you're going to have to contact the assigner and let them know that there's a problem. If you enter a block where there's already a pending game, guess what? You've just wasted your time, because that block is absolutely meaningless. The pending game is going to take precedence over your block. This messes referees up all the time. Well, I entered a block. Yeah, but I'd already assigned you a game. You just didn't know about it yet. So pay attention to the color coding. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. And if it doesn't, please send me an email and I'll try to clarify it as best I can. So there are a number of ways to enter blocks and to remove blocks from this calendar. The most common type of block is the all-day block. You know you're just absolutely not available on that particular day. And, maybe you're going to be away at a tournament. It's a weeknight and you're never available on weeknights. Or it's a Sunday and you're never available on Sundays, including for tournaments. Let's look at a couple of ways to do that. First of all, remember you always have to start on your action menu and you click the block all day. Now, before we move on, there's another little point here I want to add. This is fairly new. There's this checkbox here that says add notes. I'd really appreciate it if you check that, and that when you created blocks, you gave me a quick note as to why that date's blocked. It helps me understand everybody's calendars and what's going on so that I can better assign them to appropriate games. So again, we want to block a single date. And that's pretty easy. Once we have selected block all day as the action, all you have to do is come into your calendar and click the date. So if we click July 1st, now it's going to ask us for that note. And I'll just say on vacation for the note. And you'll notice immediately that the 1st of July is now in the red color, which means it's an all-day block. And below that, it created two separate blocks. One for the Swisser group, it's a block, and it's an all-day block. It tells me the note there, on vacation. It also created a separate block in the ISRC Idaho group with the same information. Okay. Now, going back up, you'll always know what kind of an action you're about to perform, because right under the time range in red, it will always tell you what you're about to do. In this case, it's an all-day block. Now, we talked about sometimes there's a day of the month, a weekday, a particular weekday that you were just never available. So let's assume that's Sunday, and you're just never going to be available on Sunday. There's a quick and easy way to do that without having to go through the calendar and click every Sunday. And that's by using a date range. So let's say we want to block out every Sunday in the month of July. So we just use our pop-ups here, and we click the starting date of the 1st of July, and we click the ending date, the last day of July. And then in the days of the week checkboxes, we click on Sunday. And then finally click the apply button. And you can just something like that. And you can see all of our Sundays now have all-day blocks. And if you click on one of those days, say we go to the 12th, you'll see down here at the bottom section, again, we have two blocks that have been entered, one for each of the groups, and it tells us the note never on Sunday. And that's a quick and easy way to add all-day blocks. The other type of block that you're frequently going to enter is a part-day block. This often occurs when you're available you have some activity, say in the morning on Saturday, but you're available to referee in the afternoon, and you would like to get assignments then. So what you do is you create a part day block when you're not available, and then once that time is passed, when the assigner is looking for afternoon to fill afternoon assignments, your name will then come up in the afternoon, but not in the morning. So how do we do that? Okay, remember the action. We need to click the block part day, and then we need to set the time range for when we're not available. And in this case, it's going to be morning, say from 8 a.m., which is a fine starting point because we don't have games before that, and say it's till noon. And so we've set our part day block. And then again, we can do it just like we do with all day blocks. We can either click on a day, like say the 4th, add a note, and as you can see, we have on July 4th, we have our part day blocks from 8 to 12. And after that, you're going to be available. Now, again, say that you're not available on Tuesdays from 8 to 5. That's pretty typical. So again, we just go here and take 8 to 5 and choose our day. And what do? We were saying Tuesdays. Okay, we'll do Tuesdays, and then we click apply. Let's see, why aren't we have at work? And as you can see, we have created part day blocks for every Tuesday in the month. And if we click on one of those dates, there's our blocks at the bottom, and it shows us being at work. Okay, so that's how easy it is to set blocks, part day, full day. We've covered how to do attached games in a previous video. And remember, attached to your game schedule, don't put manual blocks in here to cover your games, because that won't help me. It doesn't tell me where you are, and you're going to limit yourself in the type of games that you get. So now that we have it, again, schedules change, and you find out that one of the dates you were previously not available has opened up, and now you want to get assignments for that date. So what do? We come over here to our action, we click the Clear Blocks radio button, and then there are a couple of ways we can delete it. We can go to the date and simply click on the date, and that will remove all the blocks of any kind that are on that date, not attached games or those, but the types of blocks that you've entered. So that's one way. Suppose all your Tuesdays have opened up now. So you have clear blocks checked in the action area, and you come over, your time range is set as it was, and your date range, you got Tuesdays, and if you click apply, that will remove all of the blocks on Tuesdays that you had entered. And finally, if you go to a date, let's use our 4th here, where you had a partial block. I guess we removed that already. Go to the 12th. Oh, I'm removing blocks. Sorry about that. You need to go back up here to the view schedule. And if I click on a date, cancel that out. And what we have is, again, here are our blocks down at the bottom. And we can click on the X, the big red X, to delete a block, clear it out. And there it goes. It's gone. And if we click off the other one as well, you can now see on the 26th that date is clear, has no blocks on it at all. So that's it. Pretty easy to set blocks, pretty easy to remove blocks. just remember, make sure you have the groups that you want your blocks to apply to checked. Make sure you select the correct action, and then double check on those dates at the bottom to make sure that in fact there are blocks entered, so that you don't have to send me an email and say, oh yeah, I blocked it, but somehow it didn't work. Well, it didn't work because something somewhere along the line you didn't check the right box, save it, or whatever. And finally, if you have a light blue pending game and you expect to set a block on that date, you better email the assigner right now, because your block is going to have no effect. The pending game is going to have precedence over your block at this point. So there you have it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.